We're live for the first time in like I don't
Forever.
know, yeah, long time.
Oof.
So,
Okay, let
but
me see.
let me
Hold
know when
on.
you share, and I
All
will
right,
run the intro.
give me 1 second.
Get this sent over to Shaw
There you
man.
go.
I sent him a text and said we're recording, so we shall see. I am ready when
All
you
right.
are. Though.
All right, go for it.
All right, let's do it.
Shut up and sit down.
Boom.
Wait, what happened?
You didn't hear the boom?
I didn't hear a boom or anything. You cut it off early. Welcome everybody.
No.
How you all doing? There was no boom, nothing. It went
Yeah, there
boom,
was a boom.
and then just nothing.
Nope, I heard a boom on my end.
Well, I think let us know, people, if you heard a boom. I didn't hear a boom. I'd like to know now. Now I'm
Well, the
curious.
good news is it runs on its own, so I don't actually have to do anything. So when it ends, it just ta-da.
That's incredible. Anyway, welcome everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome to I'm Street Certified Dope Dr. Louis Delgado here with you, and that's Trinity Phillips, my partner, the Dharma guy, and we are Dope and Dharma, and this is the Couch Live version of Dope and Dharma. Couch Live has been on since 1999, Trinity, and we're still kicking it, still here on the airwaves in Orlando. Those of you listening on the radio, welcome. You're listening on where, Trinity? Where are they hearing us in Orlando?
WOKB 1680 AM and 100.7 FM on, as you would call it, the dial.
The
there.
dial.
For our younger watchers, back in the day on our radios in the car, there was a dial that you had to use to tune, and that's what he's referring to.
What's radio?
Yeah. I could have really screwed him up, said terrestrial radio.
You can use that word terrestrial, but they'll think they're watching like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, one day at a time is what we're talking about today. But before we get into it, let's tell a little bit about how they can watch us, follow all that stuff. Trinity, please.
As always, if you're here local in Central Florida, you can listen to us on the radio on Mondays, as I just said, 1680 AM, WOKB, or 100.7 FM. If you'd like to listen at your leisure or you'd like to see our faces, you can do so on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. If you want to watch it live, it'll be Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube under Dope and Dharma. If you want to listen on your own leisure without looking at our beautiful faces, you can do so on any of your major podcasting platforms, also under Dope and Dharma.
That's very good. Thank you very much, Trinity, obviously. And, of course, this is a show that focuses on addiction and recovery, family issues, personal issues, all that kind of stuff. I am a certified addictions professional, been treating people for now over 30-something years, and Trinity Phillips here. He is a spiritual advisor and master trainer, and, of course, he's been helping people for many, many years as well. So we're here for you. You want to, ask questions, all that good stuff. Feel free to do so. You can find us and go ahead and do that. Facebook Live makes it easy to do that. So if you're listening on the radio, if you want to do both at the same time, it makes it easy to participate. We like doing it live here on these platforms that he just mentioned, because that way we're able to interact with people from different cities and states, not just Orlando, even though we love Orlando. Orlando's fantastic. Gotta love Orlando. What, Trinity, you don't like it? It's your city.
No, I'm out of here as soon as I can, man.
Well, that's not your city? It's not your city?
No, it's where I'm at. It's not my city, though. I wouldn't refer to this as home for me.
You've been here for 30 years or whatever.
I know. And it still doesn't feel like home. I'm telling you, man, as soon as the kids are growing, dude, we're out. That's our plan.
Well, just, hold on. Don't leave yet. And I'm over here in New Smyrna Beach, beautiful New Smyrna Beach, Volusia County, Florida. I love it out here, man. So
yeah.
Anyway, one day at a time is what I wanted to talk about today, Trinity, because, is there any other way to do it? Oh, wait, what are you showing? You for the people at home.
Day by day.
Okay, so for the
it's
people,
actually tattooed on my arms day by day.
That's what he's showing. He's showing a tattoo. And if you put that arm up again, let me see that arm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but look at that. Look at that arm.
Day by day. There we go.
Which
is funny. When I got that tattoo, it meant something to me.
Yeah.
But then somebody came to me and asked me if it was for recovery, and I didn't know what they were talking about. I was like, it was one day at a time, whatever. I was like, oh, well, no, but it's a good philosophy.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I think I was on a show. I think I was on a TV show called Day by Day for one episode back in the day. I don't know. I think there was a show. I think it was Day by Day. I think that was the name of the show. But I look at that arm and I think the font size of that writing on your arm has to be like 6,000.
I don't even know. I mean, I could. It's.
I mean,
don't
if you write day by day on my arm, it has to be max, font size 16, 18.
know
But
how
on
big that
Trinity's
is.
arms, he like requires a font size of 300.
I think each of the letters are like an inch and a half. I think
That's a big
maybe
arm.
2 inches tall. I didn't really. I've never even thought of that. Like, I don't know.
I do. You
Yeah,
have the luxury
I
of
never
not.
thought about that.
Well, that's the luxury of being a big dude, right? The luxury
Right.
of being a big dude is that you never think about stuff like that.
Well, I think about it in the reverse, right?
What do you
Like,
think?
my wife will always like move things around that benefit her because she's so tiny. But when I come through, I'm bumping into things and knocking them off. I'm like, dude, why are you putting it here? Like, so we all have our crosses to bear, I guess.
We've traveled together quite a bit, and I see your struggle, and it allows me to feel much. When I travel with you, I feel much better
Bro, have you ever
about
tried to
our
shower in
situation.
a hotel room when the nozzle's like right here at your forehead or
No,
lower?
I can't say that I have, Trinity.
Yeah, it's
Can't say
not
that I
fun,
have.
dude. It's not fun.
But I gotta admit, when I get into a tight shower, I laugh I chuckle all the time thinking about you.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel that every time you're naked in the shower, you think about me, but that's another
Only when
conversation.
it's a tight squeeze.
Yeah, I the funniest one was when we went on a cruise, trying to take a shower in the cruise ship shower is just
Yeah.
it's not fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that one for anybody, let alone somebody who's of larger stature.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about day by day. When you tattoo day by day on your arm, what were you thinking about? What was happening at the time?
I don't know. I don't know if there was anything specific happening at the time, but my philosophy was, take it one day at a time. Don't think too far forward or too far backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to live thinking only about what's going to happen so far in the future that you never know if you'll even make it, that you miss the present. And I didn't want to look so far backwards that I don't see where I'm going. So I just kind of wanted to focus on the here and the now and what's in front of me. So one day at a time, man. It's kind of like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Same thing, like, how do you make it through a lifetime of stuff? I'm going to figure out how to make it through the day, man. And then I'll deal with tomorrow.
Do you have multiple? For those of you that don't know, Trinity, the Dharma guy, here he has a lot of tattoos. And do you have more philosophical sayings on?
I do.
On
the other arm.
What are some of the other philosophical?
On the other arm says no regrets, which rubs people.
Yeah, that
rubs
can go
people the wrong.
Right.
When people hear that, if they don't hear an explanation, it tends to ruffle some feathers, I guess. And the way I would explain it, and I know you and I actually share this philosophy because we've discussed it at length. I don't necessarily, when I say no regrets, it doesn't mean that I'm 100% happy with the way every single thing has ever turned out in my life or every decision that I've made, but I have the same process of decision making and how I go about making a decision, and I try to make the best decision I can with what I have available at the time. And so whether something turned out, like whether I'm happy with it or not, is not dependent upon the outcome, because I can't control every outcome. I can only control my process and my decisions. So when I put no regrets, my idea was to try to live my life with no regrets. So try to make the best decisions when I can, regardless of the outcome. I can be satisfied with that, if that makes sense, I guess. So if much, as an example, something happened this morning. That I came out this morning when I took my kids out, and I saw something that my mind immediately went to like a million different places to try to figure out what was going on. But before I responded to any of that, or before I reacted or anything else, I first reached out to a few other people to get some more information, and then I was able to respond. So my process wasn't to freak out or do whatever. My process was, okay, this is interesting. Let me figure out some more information. Let me piece it together, and then I'll make a decision. I'll make a response. And so because I do that in most areas of my life, I can feel pretty good about the outcome, even if the outcome wasn't what I wanted.
Right. So you're not very impulsive.
I try not to be. I mean, I've had episodes or time frames in my life, especially when I was younger, I would do some impulsive things. But No, it's been I've witnessed from not only myself, but thankfully I've been able to learn through other people's shortcomings. Impulsivity doesn't seem to end well a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So I try to do my best to negate as much impulsivity as I can, even though impulsivity feels good in the moment. It feels good to just give in to the impulsivity.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
like I said, I've noticed for myself and for others, it doesn't typically end well. And so, as good as that impulsivity might feel at the moment, the results from it afterwards probably will feel worse than how good that feels. So I've tried to avoid impulsivity, which, some might think it leads to a boring life, but I don't think I've had a boring life. I think I've had a good,
Right.
fun life,
Mm-hmm.
but my risks were calculated, but
Mm-hmm.
I have done some impulsive things. That's for sure. You can ask my mother.
Okay.
I've given her some gray hair, I'm sure,
Yeah. So
including myself.
any others? Any other? So you got the.
Uh,
Wait, let us see the no regrets. Can I see it? Can I see it? There you go. Another font 300.
As far as actual text is concerned, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so.
No more
Yeah,
words.
not like inspirational words or anything. No,
Okay. Were there any phrases or words that you wanted to get that just you didn't?
no, no.
So out of all the words and phrases that exist in life, those are the two that you deemed important enough to put on your arms and body.
Yeah. At that time, man, where I was
Oh,
at
I
in
know,
my
but
life,
you still have time. I mean, like you're still living.
eh,
So like,
dude, I don't feel like sitting for those anymore. Man. They hurt.
oh, okay.
When you get older, your skin actually gets thinner, and it just
Uh-huh.
sucks to sit for them. And as you pointed out, because of the size, I can't just go and sit for 30 minutes. It's like a 3-4 hour thing minimum. And so
Yeah.
I'm just like, I reached a point in my life, man, where I don't think I'll ever get another one. I mean,
So you're
maybe you
you're
never know,
done.
but I
Tattooing.
think I'm done. Like
What was the last one you
intellectually,
got?
I would like to have more, but I just don't see it happening.
Was a smiley face on your rear end the last one you got?
No, I don't think so. I I don't remember. I'm guessing. I think the last one. Well, it was probably either my wedding ring
Oh,
that I
okay. There
got,
you go. There you go.
or
Yeah,
it was the potentially we had that Pulse nightclub shooting that happened here.
that might be it.
Yeah, and my
It's one of those two.
yeah, my son through marriage, Trevor, he
Hmm.
identifies as gay,
Hmm.
and to support the cause and here locally to support what was going on and to kind of show. Obviously, we disagree with what happened down there. The
Right.
tattoo shop that my wife goes to was doing like a flash type thing. If you went and paid X amount, they would donate it to the cause. So I
Hmm.
got the Orlando City Soccer lion, but in like a rainbow color or whatever.
That's right. That's right. I
That
remember that.
Yeah, I think that might have been my last. I don't know, either
Which
that one or my wedding ring.
which the cause is very happy for you. They kept the money, did whatever they wanted to with the money, and
Yeah.
didn't do anything with
It was like $20, I think. So hey,
but
I
the
did
people
my
that
best.
donated, they did the right thing.
Yeah,
And that's the way it is with causes, right? Your
yeah,
donation is where you should feel good, but you're
yeah.
probably getting, they're probably never going to do with what you want with the money.
Exactly. So.
Unless it's the Now Matters More Foundation, we do. But look, Marissa says it doesn't suck to sit. I sit longer than 30
Oh no,
minutes.
I like sitting, but when I say sit, I'm talking about sitting for the tattoos because it like I've had some tattoo. I think my longest session was
Right.
like 8 or 10 hours, and it's just it's not fun to have the needle poked into you for 10 hours straight, man. It's just when I was
Yeah.
younger, I didn't care. I was like, yeah, get them all done. Now I'm
Yeah.
older. I'm like, man, I don't know if I feel like doing that today.
Yeah, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
Note to self, Louis, if you're going to get a tattoo, you better get it soon because it's going to hurt more.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
think it's a combination of it hurts more, and when you're older, you just don't see the point in it. You're just like,
Yeah. I'm
why
good.
do I want to sit through that?
Uh,
I'm good.
I'll just get it. Can I get just a hat or a shirt that says it? And I'm good.
Yeah, go get a henna tattoo.
Plus, they have the arm sleeves now. You can just arm
Yeah,
sleeve.
yeah,
Like I could just wear a compression shirt.
yeah.
Arm compression sleeve. Anyway, so one day at a time. I like that you put that on your arm, and I think it kind of goes with the no regrets. Actually, I think we can combine those.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because in your, when you think about one day at a time, it's talking about doing the next right thing, right?
Yeah.
You can sit there and you can focus on all the faults that you have, all the errors and judgment that you made. By the way, if we're going to talk about that, we got to clear up the word mistakes. I know a lot of people use the word mistakes. I
Yeah.
think, even we do sometimes use the word mistakes. I just
I
don't really
hate it.
believe in the word. I don't
I
believe in
agree.
it. I think, look, because typically what I would call a mistake is usually because I got caught or because like it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, right?
Yeah.
But what it really is, it's a calculated decision that just was a really bad decision. It just didn't work out right.
Yeah.
It didn't work out the way I wanted it to, or I didn't get the outcome I wanted. So then, in retrospect, I go, yeah, it was a mistake. No, it was a lapse in judgment, and I have a lot of them, and
Yeah.
and
I
some
have
of us
plenty of
more
those.
than others, I've gone through periods of my life where I make more poor decisions than good ones. I just tend to be in a time in my life where I make more good decisions than bad ones right now. Or not even, I don't even like to say good or bad. Those that seem to go with the direction I'm going, and some that seem to sabotage my direction.
Yeah.
And I think there are sabotaging decisions, and then later on we want to complain about them of the outcome, right? So one day at a time. To me, when I think about one day at a time, I'm thinking about I just gotta do the next right thing for me and the people around me, right? I gotta be healthy in this moment. I gotta make decisions that I feel are healthy in this moment. And if I stream enough of those together, Trinity, it should be a good day, right? It's just, I would expect that the day will go as smooth as it can be, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's what I meant by the no regrets part, right? Like that's kind of what I meant,
mhm,
and that is,
mhm,
like you said, making the next right decision and the next right thing. To me, is how I arrive at the conclusion of what is the right thing. Is what I'm
mhm.
talking about, like collecting of the data.
Right.
Um, and when you were talking about the mistakes, that's kind of what entered my head. Is
Mhm.
um, I've made some decisions that in hindsight were bad, but at the time they might have seemed good. And
Mhm.
maybe I should have, in hindsight, if I wanted to turn out differently, I should have
Right.
waited for more information or whatever it is, because like that's how I decide the quote unquote right thing is based upon the information that I've collected. And I think
Right.
sometimes we should collect more information. Like,
Alonso, so let's address this. So here's Marissa from Facebook Live. She writes, "It's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. It's a bad decision if you keep doing it and don't learn." I'm going to take issue with that, Marissa. If you don't learn from it, I don't think that's what makes it a mistake. I think that just makes you very stubborn, hard headed, and you're not being truthful. You're not being honest with yourself. And you're not being honest in the process of life. In this process of life, everything is a teachable moment. I can't think of anything that we experience that cannot be used as a learning moment in your life.
sure,
There's just so many of us that choose not to learn from anything we do and try to convince other people that's just the way I am. That's just me. Now, that sentence means no, that's the pattern of your behavior that you're comfortable with and you just keep presenting. But if you chose to no longer be comfortable with that pattern of behavior and the outcomes that come with it, then it wouldn't just be you anymore. You would absolutely change it by evidence of all the people in life that have changed even without some big negative consequences. I'm going to give you an example. I think a lot of people that have known me for a long time know that I'm a very, very fortunate person. I'm a very blessed person. Uh, for a person that has done some of the things that I've done and not have the negative consequence, the typical negative consequences that come with those behaviors and attitudes that I had, that would tend to allow me to keep doing it until a wall would strike me hard, right? Until some sort of real strong negative reaction to my behavior occurred. And that's not what occurred. So I constantly get, wait a minute, Louis, what was it? Why did you finally change? What was it that you did, that made you go in a different direction? And like Trinity, I don't have a great story that everyone can relate to of, oh, yeah, that's big enough.
well, I don't know. I mean, I would say that you and I probably share the same kind of instance, if you will, as far as well, I'll speak for myself,
Okay.
and you can say whether or not. But so mine wasn't necessarily a situation from beginning to end,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I had the threat of a very real thing that kind of finally started making me think, hey, maybe I should find something different to do with my life.
Right.
Like I had the threat, I had the potential of something
Talking about the
catastrophic.
incarceration?
Yeah. I had something catastrophic hanging over
Right.
my head that
Right.
thankfully never came to
Right.
fruition.
Right.
And I think you had the same, right? You had a situation that could have
Yeah.
turned out really bad,
But
but it didn't.
But Trinity, I didn't stop because of that.
Yeah.
No, that
No,
exists.
no,
No,
no.
that's my point, Trinity. That existed in my life. No,
Yeah.
no doubt that existed in my life. Typically, when you are facing those type of legal charges for that much time, normal people out in the community would say, that would be enough for me.
That was enough for me. Like that was
Because you're normal. That's why
I
we
didn't
called
stop
you normie,
everything.
Trinity.
Yeah. I didn't
'Cause you're
stop
normal.
everything, but I stopped that particular path that I was
Yeah,
on.
Well, I don't have the luxury of being able to say
Yeah.
that I'm normal. So, unfortunately, it only angered me towards the system more, even though I was given the gift of a lifetime. My brain chose to focus on how I was a victim rather than the person that deserved every little bit that was coming at me at the time. And I only gave them 7 months of good behavior for it. I mean, 6 months of good behavior, thinking I'm coming right back, brother. Don't you think that I'm not going to come back and be worse and meaner, more volatile? I totally planned on coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know if I changed my mindset. I think I just realized it wasn't working. I just
Yeah.
wasn't willing to take the risk anymore. So
Yeah.
I still had the same mindset because I took it
Right.
with me into other areas, but they were just less severe.
Yeah.
Right. The laws and stuff that I started to break then
Right.
were more like misdemeanor tickets and stuff.
Right.
So I kept the same mentality. I just realized that, this square peg's not going to fit in this round hole anymore. And life gave me a really big red
Right.
flag that said, hey, bro, like,
Right.
you can keep going, but look what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
I don't think I changed my mentality though.
I got to say a lot of it, to me, a lot of it was, I don't think it's a secret that Dana had a lot to do with mine, meeting a person as good as Dana, that didn't buy into my mentality.
Full disclosure,
What?
I still have the criminal mindset. It hasn't left me.
Well, it's not gonna leave.
I just realized that I don't want to lose what I have.
Right.
But if I can't honestly tell you that if I had a guarantee like you'll never get caught, that I would make the right decision. I hope so. I don't know.
Well,
but my mentality is still very much there. I just, the consequences suck.
Well, I'm going to say it a little bit differently because, I do think a little bit differently. I don't think it ever leaves. I just think it just has a weaker voice, at least in my head. It does.
It's not as loud for me.
It still says it. I just laugh at it sometimes. Like, I'm like, where did that thought come from? Why would you even? Why do you still have a seat at this table, Mr. Bad Thinker? Like that little, red monkey in my head still comes up with little comments, and I'll hear it and I'll be like, all right, you're humorous. I laugh at him now is what it is. I laugh at him. He doesn't have like the chair position, but when he was chairman of the board, we were bankrupt in my head. It was like crazy. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that one day at a time thing, I didn't think, first of all, as a young man, I didn't think I was living past 18 years old. So that even though YOLO wasn't a thing at the time, it was a thing. Like it's always been a thing. We just didn't name it, right?
Sure.
It was more seize the day, carpe diem kind of sentence back in the day instead of, YOLO, right? It was carpe diem. So it was always like, I'm just going to do what I do, how I do it. I don't care about, because I'm not going to live long anyway. Eventually, somebody's going to shoot a lot better than they have shot. Somebody's eventually gonna aim better, or because some of you, and this is just for the punks out there. This is not for the masses of you that are listening. This is for the punks that just may be listening on their mom's radio or whatever, or dad's radio. Because you guys suck at shooting so bad, you keep hitting innocent bystanders, and you never hit your target. And that's the sad thing. Some of you just should never carry a gun because you just suck at it so bad. And when you first get, some of you are walking around right now and you got a gun in your waistband or something like that. Just know this: you are not a trained shooter. Put it away. Get rid of it, because all that will do is hit an innocent bystander. And in my cases, it was like not even much different. It was like innocent people got hurt in my life instead of me, or instead of the other side. Like, it was the two parties ended up still just as well.
Right.
And so when I say one day at a time, I'm thinking, this life has become so precious. I would have never met a Dana. And by not meeting a Dana, I would have never wanted to keep a Dana. By not keeping a Dana, I would have never had my daughters, Dahlia and Zoe. And by not having a Dahlia and Zoe, I would have never embraced how good this really feels to be a good man. I mean, it feels really good. I can honestly say now, without even laughing or snickering, I'm a good man. And I wasn't able to say that, Trinity. And I know you weren't able to say that in your head without thinking of the negative you did.
Sure.
Because it came with an asterisk. It came with a now. You always had to say, I'm a good man now.
Yes.
But I've lived longer in this life now than I lived in that life now, because I'm 53 years old. So let me see. Yeah,
I'm getting there.
Let me do the math too. It's a lot longer.
I don't know the
I lived
numbers.
a lot longer in this life now. So I can now say that I'm a good man, and it's because all day long I'm serving other people. All day long, from what time I wake up in the day to the time I go to sleep, I look at my phone, and people that are suffering are reaching out to me, and my only thought when I'm doing it is, how can I help that person through their pain? That's it. And because that's what I do, I get to keep what I got. Now, I had heard concepts like that, whether it be in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, any kind of meeting. It always heard you got to give it away to keep it. I got to be honest with you, I had no clue what they were talking about. When they would say you got to give it away to keep it, I say, oh, hell no. You got to lock it away to keep it. You got to hide it from people to keep it. I always thought you just had to lie really well. You had to hide what you do really well. You have to be smart about what you do. Those were the philosophies that I had. You got to trust the right people. You can't be gullible. I had all the street kind of knowledge. It sounds really good, and I can still make cases for them. But it doesn't make for a good, productive, healthy, supportive servitude type of life.
No, it does not.
It just makes you kind of jerky. But then what you would say, or at least I would say, is, yeah, but I'm not jerky. My people know that I'm not jerky. If you think I'm a jerk, it's because I don't care that you think I'm a jerk. You're allowed to think that. I'm okay with it. Which is not where I'm at today. Where I'm at today is I don't even think along those lines. It's just like, I know that my heart is in a really good place, and I'm grateful to that. And I'm grateful for all the days of my past that I just believed in the process. They got me here. My mentor, I used to always say, is my father, right? I always used to say my father is my greatest mentor, right? And I'm not saying that he's not, as far as another human being. He's still, as another human being, my father is my greatest mentor. My mother's right there with him, right? But to be honest with you, my greatest mentor of all time is me at 19 years old. That kid that made the decisions that he made, and I remember the day he made them. I remember the fear that he had in his heart. I remember the risk and the drive that he took to California. He just packed up the car and he booked it. And I remember the songs that he played on the way there. I remember so much of that drive to California from El Paso, Texas. That kid saved and gave me my life. That kid is my biggest mentor in life, because I have no idea what inspired. I can give you details that sound like, oh yeah, that would inspire you. But how he embraced that inspiration and created it into a forest fire. He took an ember, right? Like a little tiny little ember.
Yeah, ember.
He took an ember. Here I am trying to use, English is my second language, and here I am trying to use fancy words. Screw the fancy word. He took this little match, and created a forest fire with a match. And he did that. Without him doing that, without him making that decision that day. And now, mind you, people, he's not responsible for my decision today and the day after and all that other stuff. But he created the path and the momentum, that initial push, the momentum to keep pushing. And anyone who's ever pushed a vehicle knows the hardest push is the very first push.
Yep.
right? You can run. If I run to a car and run into it, like if I did a Trinity to it, and just like ran into it like a football player, the car doesn't move. But if I just lean into the car and start walking forward with it, it'll move. It's the push. You got to push it. And Andrew said it. Andrew, my business partner at Telemed Clinic, says it with boats, and I was like, wow, dude, I love that he says it because we use these things, and I don't know where he got it from, but it's the same thing. So there must be someone out there teaching momentum, because that's a momentum thing. You can't rush it, you can't push it, you can't fight it. You have to slowly lean into it and push it forward, and that's what that kid at me at 19 did. And he showed me that you just got to do the next right decision. Where it goes from here, I don't know. And I used to say that all the time. A matter of fact, on my shoe, and I don't write on my clothing. I don't write on my shoes. I don't write on my skin. You saw that. I don't write on my skin. I don't do that. I just don't do that. I don't even like words on my shirts as much as just Now Matters More shirts are the only ones that I don't really mind, because they say what I want them to say. But I wrote, "I will overcome" on my shoe. I took that from Martin Luther King Jr., and I didn't know hardly anything about Martin Luther King Jr. me at 19. I knew the basics, but
Right.
I loved that phrase, that we shall overcome, and I robbed it. I stole it. And I made it my own, and I wrote on my shoe, "I will overcome." That's not an accident that 19-year-old kid did that. Me at 19 wrote that on my shoe because that became my mantra. That became my focus. I knew that I can beat this, but it wasn't beat the system. It wasn't beat the government. It wasn't beat this world. It wasn't beat my parents. It wasn't beat my enemies. It was beat myself's negative thought process. Beat the negative thought process that was within me that allowed me to constantly sabotage good stuff. I would sabotage good stuff because I wanted it, because I felt like I wanted it. I felt like I deserved it. I felt like it was owed to me. So I would constantly, like when people say take receipts, that doesn't work for me. When I hear take receipts, I think that's where I was at my worst. I took receipts.
Right.
I always took receipts. But that only brought out negative emotions towards myself and towards others. Taking receipts never made me love others. It made me judge others.
Well, let's try to get a positive out of a negative.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Okay. So where do you sit with all that, what I said? I know you must have something.
Yeah, I know for me, I was trying to think of what keeps me, here, right?
Yeah.
I had that initial scare, if you will, that started the process of kind of changing things around. But even then, I still did questionable things, right? Like I was still young. Like I said, I did illegal things, but they weren't, life-altering legal things. They were like, I would do wheelies on motorcycles and race and stuff.
Yeah, that's not life-altering.
Well, if I died, I guess. But yeah. But at worst, it was like a misdemeanor type of thing, right? Like, I wasn't going to jail for a felony.
Right.
But even then, I stopped a lot of that once my kids were born. And I wish I could say that I make good decisions daily because I want to keep my kids around. And to some extent, I'm sure that's true. But that's not really at the forefront, I don't think, for me. For me, what's at the forefront is the peace that comes with not having to stress about things.
Right.
Like, I remember when I was doing stupid things or illegal things, or I was kind of like, trying to get away with stuff. There was always this weird like cloud over you of like somebody might find out, or today could be the day it doesn't go well, or what would everybody think if they found this out? I don't have to worry about that at all anymore. Like, I can sleep like a baby, not having to worry about anybody finding anything out, or things like coming to fruition or coming to light tomorrow kind of thing. Go ahead. I'm an open book, man. You can find out whatever you want. As an anecdotal thing, right? I watch these shows all the time on TV, like dating or marriage shows or stuff. And there's always this weird point of contention between the spouses about giving their phones to the other spouse. and like they're always really reluctant to do that.
Mm.
And it's like I don't really care. Like I don't have anything at all. So my wife has mine and I have hers. We never use it just out of respect, but she has it. Like I don't really. She's not gonna find anything on there, other than I look up like everything that you've ever seen on TV. Like I'll hear a word, I'm like, I'll look up something, random. But it just feels good knowing that I don't have that stress hanging over me, and I like the way that feels. I like the feeling of I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
It's just a very freeing, very liberating feeling. That's what I meant earlier at the top of the show when I said that impulsivity feels good, but nowhere near as good as like the consequences of not having to worry about anything.
Right.
Like, I don't have that a little adrenaline rush anymore of doing something I know I'm not supposed to be doing and getting away with it. But I also don't have that stress lingering over me anymore. It's a very freeing thing of, I'm good. I'm not really worried about any of that. That doesn't mean I don't have worries and stresses in life. I mean, we all have those, but I don't have the ones that everybody else has, in addition to the stress of trying to keep something hidden. Because at the end of the day, that's what, by not doing the right thing, you're going to have to try to hide it at some point, right? Because it's not the right thing, which means if somebody found out, it's probably not going to end well for you. Everything from little things to big things, you don't want somebody to find out. And so for me, it's something I can be proud of,
Right.
and I don't have to question my decision making. I don't have to question things. The guilt of knowing that you're doing something, I don't have any of that. Once again, it doesn't mean everything I decide goes right, but I know my process. And so even if it doesn't turn out right, I can feel sorry or bad or whatever it might be, but I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
Right.
Because I made a good decision with what I had. Like my intentions were good. If it didn't turn out well, then that sucks. And, I'm sorry if I played a role, and we'll figure it out. But I'm going to sleep fine because I know in my heart of hearts, I made the right decision.
Yeah.
And that just feels good.
Yeah, I like that you said about the feels good and it feels at peace, but because I think that's the outcome that I think that's the outcome I wanted. I wanted to feel good. I mean, I don't remember ever like outwardly saying that I want to feel good. I don't even think I thought it was possible that I would ever feel good.
Right.
Trinity, I didn't. I've joked many times that the only emotions I seem to have known, I'm like an elementary kid with emotions. I know anger, and I know
anger and frustration.
Laughter. I can
filter
laugh
everything through that,
and I be angry. I don't know sadness. I don't know all those others on that little diagram with all the like bewildered. Like I don't even know how they have a yellow face of bewildered. I don't know how they have a bewildered emoji.
Yeah, I was very lizard brain.
Me too.
I know. Fight or flight, man.
Give me basic. Yeah, fight or flight. That's it. And so to learn that those weren't even real emotions and they were like, from other real feelings, it's like, oh my God, really? Seriously? Yeah. And to start, developing wisdom. And I think that's the biggest difference. I don't think as a young person, I understood what wisdom was. I knew what stupidity was. I knew what intelligence was. But when you would say wisdom, I only would think of like a Mr. Miyagi type of character, right? And think, I guess that's what that is. But I who's that? And then as you get older, I would now say I now know what wisdom is. And I'm not saying it in a braggart way or an arrogant way. I'm just saying that I can tell that there's a difference in knowledge based on how I process information and what feels good.
Yeah.
There will be moments where my daughters would say something. I can feel myself wanting to respond differently. And then all of a sudden I hear the little wisdom voice and be like, and what's that going to get you? Where are you going to go with that?
Yeah.
I can actually hear the wisdom voice pipe in and be like, why don't you just say that I exist? Why don't you tell her what you just thought about and then tell her that I exist? And I'll find myself saying that. For instance, my daughter Zoe, she's a trip, man. His daughter Zoe, she's so much like me. She was going to this, what is this, Daisy Festival or whatever that just happened in
The
Orlando?
electric light thing with the EDM or whatever it's called.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
in my head I'm just thinking it's a big ecstasy fest, right? It's a
Yeah,
big,
it kind of
it's
is.
a big drug,
Yeah.
like music festival, right?
Not for all that attend, but for many, yes.
Yeah. So, but I know my kid, and I trust my kid, and my kid doesn't exhibit behaviors and attitudes and everything that goes along with somebody I need to be concerned with. But it doesn't prevent me from being like, well, I could be an idiot right now. I could be wrong. But so when she says she's going, like, part of me says, tell her don't do this. Like, there's parts of me that wants to like parent,
Lecture.
right? Lecture, and then the other says, no, don't lecture, parent. Be a real parent.
Yeah.
So I honestly tell her right now, I'm balancing two emotions. I'm balancing balancing between two emotions. One that wants to just not like this and fight it, and the other one that wants me to tell you, have a great time. That's cool. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Soak it all in. That's an incredible experience.
Right.
And I just was honest with her about it, and she just laughs because she knows that's who I am.
Sure.
I can go either way with it, but I have so much trust in the life process from my own experiences. I just have so much trust in the life process that I don't dare to try to control it, because it's absolutely, other people are out of my control. I can barely control me.
Yeah.
But trying to control others is so darn frustrating. That's where I have leaned into overstated aggression. That's where I've leaned into anxiety. That's where I've leaned into a bad situation, trying to control external factors, when all I really needed to do was just do the next right thing myself and trust in this life process. I didn't create this life, therefore I can't manage it and control it the way I think I can. But what I can do is I can make the best decision in my head for me. And if others want to play along with that, go with that, great. If they choose not to, they deserve to be able to be wrong. They deserve to be able to try it another way. They deserve to be able to do it however they want to, because I wouldn't want them telling me what to do. And trust me, if I stick in this conversation long enough, they're going to try to educate me on how their way is better than my way.
Yeah.
So why get into a frustrated conversation when we could just be like, well, we shall see. I'll tell you if I'm right when I die. I just hope that's not today.
That reminds me of so the addition that I would add to that, like the subtext, I would say, the approach that I take sometimes is so I learned that as well. But the other valuable lesson that I took with me, mostly through the spiritual journey, is kind of just letting, like, not contributing to suffering, right? Like, I can't take away your suffering. I can't do, but if I truly want to help anybody, what I can do is not add to it. I cannot be the reason you're suffering today. Right. And so, like, as another anecdotal story, right? You had your kid's story, I'll tell mine. Because it's so easy to do sometimes when you do get angry or frustrated. It's so easy to forget to not add to somebody else's suffering, right? Because you're wanting to lash out. I think it was over the weekend. I brought my son with me to go pick up some food. Right, we do our weekly Wednesday thing. Typically, I cook, but this week I didn't. We ordered some pizza, and he went with me to go pick it up. I came out and I had a stack of pizza boxes, for the whole family, and he was in the back seat of the car. So first off, he didn't go in with me. He wanted to stay on his phone or whatever. When I came back to the car, he didn't like open the door or anything. So I was balancing to open the door. And when I came in, the pizza stuff fell. And one of the top pizza fell like straight into the seat. Like, I'm talking ruined pizza. I had like the seat's terrible, whatever. And it sucked. It was frustrating. It was annoying because I felt like it could have been prevented. I was frustrated. I cleaned it up. I got a towel and I got in the car and we're driving home. And I heard him in the back seat says, "I'm sorry, I should have opened the door for you." Right. And so I heard him say that. And immediately in my head, I was thinking, yeah, I mean, that's the whole purpose of you coming with me. Right. Like, the whole purpose of you coming with me is to help me. So I'm not trying to carry it on myself, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But my wisdom said, I'm not going to put this on a 12-year-old boy. I don't want him to carry that around. Like, I'm not going to add to his suffering. I'm not going to make.
Right.
He's acknowledged. Hey, I could have done something different, and that's
Right.
all. That right there was my sign that I've done a good job as a father. That he was
Amen.
able to acknowledge. You know what? I probably could have done something different than that,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to make him feel anything worse. I wasn't going to let him sit with that for however long, right? Like it could have been something innocuous at the moment, but 30 years from now, he could be in counseling telling him about that one incident. And so I didn't want to. I didn't want to add to it. So my wisdom told me, take a deep breath. It's pizza. Who cares?
Right.
It's not a big deal. And I just told him, say, it's okay, buddy, man. It is what it is. It was my fault. I should have, I should have opened the door first or whatever. Like, it's not on you. It is what it is. So moving forward, obviously, I think if the situation occurs again, first of all, I'll know to have him come out with me. Second of all, I think he'll make the better decision as well. And that all happened because I had enough wisdom to realize that that emotional reaction that I wanted to do wasn't going to be good for anybody. And so that was like one of the biggest things I took from my spiritual journey was whenever I interact with people, I do my best to make sure that I'm not going to add to your suffering. I can't take it away from you. I can't prevent it. And for obviously my kids, that's important. I really want to prevent it or take it away from them. But even for strangers, but what I can do is I can make sure that I'm not the source of it. I can do my best to not add to your plate that's probably already full, right? Because we're all dealing with something. Everybody out there who's listening to this, who you see, just step out your front door and look around. Every single person you saw, they're dealing with something. And the last thing they need from you is to add another something on their plate. So that for me is where the wisdom for me kicks in. Is I'm going to try my best to be wise enough to not add to your plate. And it's hard sometimes, don't get me wrong, because there's some times I'd love to add to somebody's plate, but it's really not going to be beneficial to either one of us.
Yeah, that wisdom voice probably was there, but I think I thought he was a punk.
Turn the other cheek kind of thing. I want to get you hit harder.
I probably thought he was and not that the punk still. I still think the punk's in the head. I think there is a punk in there. I just don't really, he never really had a voice because that's the one I'm not going to allow come out. But by him never having a voice, I actually look like a punk all the time. That's the problem. You think you think, oh, I don't want to be a punk. Well, if you're thinking that, if one of your motives, and you're usually not honest about it when you actually do something to not be a punk or look like a punk, but that is the only time you actually look and act like a punk, when you're thinking you're trying to avoid looking or acting like a punk. Because if that's your motive, what it was is your brain was already telling you what you're looking and sounding like, and you misinterpreted the message to believe, oh, that's my motive. No. Your brain was saying, hey, you're acting and looking and thinking like a punk. But you interpret it as like, don't be a punk, so do this, do the other. We misinterpret messages all the time. It's like the message in my brain when it says I'm hungry and it asks for like vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, and I relate it to, oh, you want a potato chip right now. See, I misinterpret messages from the brain all the time. I think it wants chocolate and I think it wants potato chips when it's really saying, no, I want nourishment.
Right.
And I think, oh, no, you don't. I'm just being me.
Agua.
I'm just being me. I want chocolate and chips. That's who I am, because that's what I eat.
There you go.
Anyway, we got to close up. Any final words on this one day at a time deal?
Yeah, just, like I said at the top, man, impulsivity sounds like a good idea until it doesn't. So, try thinking things through. Try using wisdom for a little while. Try doing the next right thing. It's not always what you want to do or what you like or what's the most fun, but what's right. And what's the way you'll know that is something you could be proud to tell other people. That's how you know it's the right thing.
I agree, man. You got to embrace each moment. That's your moment. That's what you got in front of you. Embrace it. Soak it in. Let it marinate. Of course, you got to do the next right thing. Wrong is wrong whether you're caught or not caught. Wrong is wrong whether it turns out good or bad. It's just there's a right way to be, and I'm going to venture say most of you know what the next right thing to do is, but somehow you talk yourself out of it, just like we all do. We're human, and so the right thing doesn't usually come with all the bells and whistles and not always look as fun. You and I both said it, Trinity. If we would look at our lives right now, we wouldn't have known how good this feels. So if you would have said, hey, this is the way your life is going to turn out, I would have said, oh my God, that is not what I want. Kill me now. But I wouldn't have been able to understand how good this life feels the way it is right now. the way it's structured, and it is beautiful. And so, I really feel like you have to serve life to enjoy life. So serve life, serve in this life, and then you'll enjoy in this life. Anyway, got to let it go back to Shaw back at the studio, and the fellas, you got to keep on going over there at WOKB 1680. Continue with the programming tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed it, Orlando. We'll talk to you again soon, and all these people on Facebook Live and all these other things. Hello, and hope you enjoyed it. We'll try to do more programming. I've been off on these days that we've had to do this show, so there's been a lot of reruns, especially on WOKB. I apologize for that. Anyway, for now, adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.